Good day mga kamat-aral. Today we're going to discuss our new lessons for our third week mathematics for its quarter 1. Mag-aral tayo ng mabuti. So today's topic is all about the square roots. In here, we are able to describe principal roots and tells whether they are rational or irrational. We can determine between what two integers the square roots of a number is, and we can plot and approximate irrational numbers. So let's begin. Square root. Square roots of real numbers may either have two, the positive or negative in the same manner as rational numbers. Thus, the square root of a perfect square is a rational numbers. So as you can see here, this symbol is also known as the radical sign or square root. And the number under this radical sign is so called as the radicand. So as you can as what we have read here may either have two, the positive or negative in the same manner. So ito po siya. Ayan. It is positive and negative integer. This is the symbol for integer po, representing numbers. So, dalawa po yan, is a positive or negative. For us to understand this, let's move forward. Like for instance, the square root of 9 is expressed as in this symbol. It is square root of 9, or positive 3 and negative 3. Because when positive 3 and negative 3 are multiplied to themselves, they are equal to 9, as what we have seen in on your screens. So we have 3 times 3 is equal to 9, and negative 3 times negative 3 is also positive 9 or 9. So let's proceed. To square a number, we're going to multiply a given number by itself. So in here, we're going to follow this pattern. So we have n squared. Some would say it is n raised to the second power, but we must read it as n squared is equal to n times n. Meaning to say, we're going to multiply the number itself twice, dalawang beses po. So, in here, if a is equal to 4, then a squared is equal to 4 times 4 as what we had here. So, 4 times 4 is 16. Ayun po, 16 siya. Okay, the next one, if b is equal to 3, then b squared is equal to 3 times 3 or is equal to 9. If c is equal to negative 8, then c squared is equal to negative 8 times negative 8 equals 64. As you can see, as what we have seen now on your screen, yung negative 8 included po doon sa pag-multiply po, sinasama po siya doon sa factors po. So that is why sinabi nga, ayan po, when you multiply a number itself including its signs, the sign of your product is always positive po. Ayan po siya. As what you have seen on your screen po. So let's proceed. The inverse of squaring a number is finding the square root. So parang tayo ay pabalik sa proseso. But in here, it says here, the square root of a number, n, ito po yung symbol na yan. The square root of a number is one of two equal factors. if multiplied together, the two factors produce the number. So, for us to understand this, let's proceed on this. If a squared is equal to 36, then a is equal to 6. Pre-assume po natin yan. Why? Ito po ang pagpapaliwanag. Sa papaligtad po tayo. Dahil dito, a squared is equal to 36. Ngayon, papunta tayo sa square root. Okay, so square root of 36 is equal to 6 times 6 or negative 6 times negative 6. Ayun po. Balik din tayo dito sa pre-assumption. Sinasabi nga a is equal to 6. Why? If you're going to multiply 6 to itself, that is 36 nga naman. Ayan po siya. Ngayon naman, pagdating po sa square root of a number, nabanggit sa ating previous slides that there is a two-sign number. Isang positive, isang negative. So, yun po. So, ito po siya. This is the proof of the positive and negative sign na nabanggit po kanina. So, positive 6, 6 times 6, and negative 6 times negative 6 po siya. Yung square root of 36. So that a is equal to positive and negative 6. Dalawa po yung magiging sagot po dyan sa square root of 36. Although, dito po sa ating pag-i-square, napakadali lang po kasi mag-square. Minumultiply mo lang ang sarili, ang isang numero sa kanyang sarili, and that is why you are forming another number. Ang tawag po dito, mahalagang malaman nyo po, na si 36 ay ang perfect square ni 6. Ayan. Si 36 ang perfect square ni 6. At itong mga ito po, si 6 at si negative 6 ay ang roots ni square root of 36. Mahalagang malaman nyo po ang pagkakaiba ng gamit ng salita. Dahil po tayo nasa inverse, sinasabi po. The inverse of squaring of a number is finding the square root. Ayan po siya. Ito po, si 36 ay ang perfect square ni 6. Okay? Si 6 at si negative 6 ay ang roots ni square root of 36. So, let's move forward. So, for another example in here, if a squared is equal to 25, then a is equal to 5 as what we had in squaring a number. Tama naman talaga. When you multiply 5 by itself, that is 25. But we're asked to find the square root of 25. Pabalik naman po tayo. So, the same concepts we have, the square root of 25 may either in the factor of 5 and 5 or negative 5 and negative 5. So, as you can see here, pareho naman talaga ng product yung dalawang yan, so that dA is equal to positive and negative 5. Because, sabi nga, 25 is a perfect square of 5, and 5 and negative 5 are the roots of the square root of 25. Yung kaninang binasa po ni Sir ay ganun lang din po. And then, if a squared is equal to 49, then a is equal to 7, as what we had learned in our previous example. So, square root of 49 is equal to 7 times 7 or negative 7 times negative 7. So that a is equal to positive and negative 7. So, paliwanag ulit. Same concepts. 7 and negative 7 are the roots of square root of 49. So, ayun po, takitandaan po. So, if you still remember the answer for the square root of 36, that is 6. 6 and negative 6. It says here that the number 5, 6, and 7 are the positive roots of 25 and 36 and 49, respectively. And it's so called as the principal roots. Okay, whenever we hear principal roots, it talks about the positive roots of a number. Okay, hindi natin isasama yung mga negative roots tulad nito, hindi na ho natin isasama dito, hindi na ho ito kasama, hindi na rin ito kasama. Pag pinag-uusapan po natin ang principal roots, okay po, hindi na po kasama yan. yung mga negative. Ang principal roots ay puro positive po siya. So, let's proceed. So, in here, we're now done on how to square a number and how to find the square roots of a numbers, particularly rational numbers. And now, we're now on finding the square roots of irrational numbers. So, what is rational numbers? So, let's read it. The square root of our perfect square is a rational number. However, if the radicand is not a perfect square, then the square root is a rational number, or rather is an irrational number. These are the sample of numbers that are not perfect square: 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, and 10, so on and so forth. Why? There is no such number that when you multiply by itself, the product is 2. Wala po. And there is no such number when you multiply by itself, the product is 3. Wala rin po. There is no such number when you multiply by itself, the product is 5. So that is why these numbers are some of the numbers na not perfect square po. Ayun po siya. So, ayan. So, let's proceed. So, before we proceed on that, I just want to share with you what are the series of perfect square numbers. So, ito po yung mga perfect square numbers. Simulan natin kay 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, 225, 256. So, madami pa pong mga kasunod po yon. Yun po ang mga perfect square numbers. Dahil pagka hinanap nyo po yung mga roots nun, ito po yung nagsisimula kay 2, kay 3, kay 4, kay 5, kay 6, kay 7, kay 8, kay 9. Pag minultiply nyo po sila sa kanilang sarili, magpuproduce po yon ng another number, which is yun po ay yung mga numerong nabanggit ko kanina na perfect square po. So, mahalaga po na makabisado niyo po yun. So, in here, square root of 13 is not a perfect square and it's an irrational number where it is in between two perfect square numbers. Kaya nga, nasa pagitan po. As you can see here, may mga radical number po tayo. So, square root of 9, alam natin si 9 ay perfect square. Yan. Perfect square po yan. Si 16, perfect square din po yan. Bakit? Ano yung numero na pag minultiply mo sa sarili is 9, and that is 3. Ayan po. 3 times 3 or negative 3 times negative 3, pareho po. Pero we're focusing on the positive lang muna po tayo. Positive integer muna. So, and then, si square root of 16, okay, a number multiplied by itself, produce 16 is 4. Ayan po siya. So, pwedeng negative 4 din. So, as you can see, ito, square root of 9. Ito, square root of 16. So, malamang sa malamang, si square root of 13 ay nasa pagitan ni square root of 9 at ni square root of 16. Ayan po. So, we're going to take the principal roots or the positive roots of square root of 9, and that is 3. Na nakikita nyo rin po sa number line. Ayan po. Tama naman po. Si square root of 16, the principal roots is 4, as you've seen on the number line. Ayan po, 4 siya. Eto na. Yung square root of 13, hindi po talaga siya perfect square. So that is why sa number line, nasa pagitan siya ni 3 at 4. Andito lamang po siya sa gitna. Ayan po. So for us to understand more about the approximations, or rather the irrational numbers on the number line, or saan ba, anong mga two perfect square numbers na magitan or ang pumapagitan sa mga irrational numbers. So proceed po tayo. So, square root of 28 is not a perfect square, and it's a rational number, where it is between two perfect square numbers. Ano ba ang mga perfect square numbers ng 28? Okay? Perfect square number na malapit kay 28 ay 25 at 36. Okay. So, if we're going to take the principal roots of 25, that is 5. Okay? If we're going to take the principal roots of square root of 36, that is 6. Ayan po. So, that is why ito po sa number line, as you have seen here, nakikita niyo po siya. Ayan. At sa pag-rewrite ng relationships nito, that the square root of 28 is in between square root of 25 and square root of 36. Mataas siya kay square root of 25 pero hindi siya tataas kay square root of 36 dahil nasa pagitan lamang po siya. As you can see here, ito naman po, ito po siya. Ayan. Ayan po ang ito po ang pagpapatunay sa number line at doon po sa relationships po ng two perfect square numbers at ng kanilang mga principal roots po. Ayan. So, let's proceed. So now, we're now on approximating square roots. The knowledge of our previous slides discussions is very useful here on how to approximate square roots. So, some of us might use the trial and error, but it is proper to use the guess and check method. So, the first example here, or the first problem here is, what is the approximate root for square root of 10 in tenths? So, there is a one digit right after decimal point. So, for the solutions, ito po ang gagawin natin. Since square root of 10 is between square root of 9 and square root of 16. So thus, since the principal roots of square root of 9 is 3 and this principal root of 16 is 4, so madali mo nang malaman doon pa lang sa representation na oo nga 9, 10, 16. Ayan po, nasa pagitan po siya doon sa square root of 9, square root of 10, square root of 16. Si square root of 10 ay nasa pagitan ni 3 and 4. Ayan po siya. Okay? Okay, so because the roots of 9 or principal roots is 3 and the roots or the principal roots of 16 is 4. So thus, the square root of 10 rather lies between 3 and 4. Ganun lang naman po siya. Nasa pagitan po siya. The next step is this one. Since we are asked to find the approximate roots of square root of 10 in tenths, so meaning to say may isa po tayong decimal number or one digit right after the decimal point. So let's try 3.1. Why? Because 3.1 is between 3 and 4. Nag-increase lang tayo ng isang number. So ayan po. So the next step is let's square 3.1. Thus, multiplying 3.1 by itself. 3.1 times 3.1 produce 9.61. So, medyo malapit na kay 10. So, pwede pa tayo magdagdag. Okay, aside from 3.1, we can have 3.2. So, again, 3.2 is between 3 and 4. So, that is why, pasok pa rin po siya. So, square natin si 3.2. So, we have 10.24 as you have seen. Ayan po. And this is it. Ayan, sinabi dito. Since 9.61 is too close to 10, instead of 10.24, the approximate root of 10 in nearest tens is 3.1. At ang katanggap-tanggap po ay ito, yung 3.1 at hindi ito kasi medyo mataas na to compared sa 9.61 na na-produce nitong 10.24. So that is why the approximate roots of square root of 10 in tens is 3.1 po. So ito ay 3.1. 3.1 po tayo dito. Hindi tayo 3.2. So let's proceed. Ayan. Okay, for another set of example, or guess and check method, we're asked to approximate roots of 17 in tens again. So, using the same concepts again, the solutions. Okay, rewrite the square roots with its perfect square to the left and to the right, na mas malapit sa kanya. So, siya ay nasa pagitan ni square root of 16 at ni square root of 25 na mga perfect square ng 4 at ng 5. Since tayo ay nasa square root, so the principal root of 16 is 4 and the principal roots of 25 is 5. So that is why nung nire-write mo siya, ayun, si square root of 17 ay nasa pagitan ni 4 and 5. So thus, ayan, sinabi na nga po, in between 4 and 5. So next step, since we are asked to find the square root, the approximate roots of square root of 17 in tens, so the same concepts we had in our previous slides. So let's try 4.1 because 4.1 lies between 4 and 5. And then let's square 4.1. So that's 4.1 times 4.1 is 16.81. So malapit-lapit na po kay 17 yan. Malapit na lapit na. So pwede pa rin tayo mag-try. So let's try 4.2 because 4.2 is between 4 and 5 again. So and then let's square 4.2. So 4.2 times 4.2 is 17.64. As you can see here, itong two example, ito 16.81, medyo malapit kay 17. But this one, medyo malayo na, 17.64. So that, ayan, since 16.81 is too close to 17, instead of 17.64, the approximate roots of 4 rather square root of 17 is nearest tens. In nearest tens rather is 4.1. Kaya ito po ang mas katanggap-tanggap po. At ito ay 4.1 in nearest tens sa approximate ng roots. Ayan po. So, ganun po ang proseso on how to approximate square roots. Okay, don't use the trial and error. We have to use the guess and check method po, following the same concepts and easy steps to follow. So that, ayan. So that on our practice exercises learning task 2, we're asked to tell whether each of the following is a rational or irrational. If it is a rational, give the principal roots. Like for example, for number 1, for practice exercises number 1, square root of 1 is a rational or irrational? The answer is rational. Why? Number 1 or 1 is a perfect number. So there is no other number when you multiply itself is 1. Only 1 itself. So what is the principal root of square root of 1 if it is rational? That is 1. The reason why is a perfect, rather 1 is a perfect number. Ayan. So, for second example, square root of 8 is irrational. Why? Because there is no such number when you multiply by itself is 8. So, square root of 52 is irrational. Why? There is no such number when you multiply by itself produce 52. And square root of 256 or 256 is a rational number. Why? There is a principal root for 256 and the principal roots of 256 is 16. Okay. And square root of 15, it is irrational numbers. Why? Because there is no such number when you multiply by itself produce 15. So, let's proceed. So, with these practice exercises, letter B, we're asked, between which two consecutive integers does the square root lie? For number 1, square root of 120. Square root of 120 is between 10 and 11. Why? Because 10 squared is 100 and 11 squared is 121. Very near. So, for number 2, square root of 56 is between 7 and 8. Why? 7 squared is 49 and 8 squared is 64. Square root of 19 is between 4 and 5 because 4 squared is 16 and 5 squared is 25. And for number 4, square root of 240 is between 15 and 16. Why? Because 15 squared is 225 and 16 squared is 256. And for number 5, square root of 80 is between 8 and 9 because 8 squared is 64 and 9 squared is 81. Another near po. So in this manner, it is very important that you are familiar or memorize the perfect square of a number. Hanggat maaari, hanggang dun sa 20 squared po, hanggang kay 400. Dahil yun po ang ilan sa mga madalas na babanggit mula kay 2, or rather kay 4, kay 9, kay 16, kay 25, kay 49, kay 64, hanggang kay 400 and even 900. Ayan po. So, ayan po siya. So, please do memorize those perfect square for you to learn and be able to answer this. And with that, I I do hope so na makatulong po sa inyo ito and Math-aral tayo mabuti. God bless everyone. So with that, thank you mga kamat-aral. Thanks for tuning in and listening in our discussions. Please do like and share and subscribe our YouTube channel. Mag-aral tayo ng mabuti. God bless everyone!